The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM. We are in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Amenuveve FM in Aflao, ATL FM in Cape Coast, Radio Wa in Wa, Clenham Radio in Bato. You can go digital on Spotify and myjoyonline.com. We are also live on Facebook. In this edition, NAGRAT begins series of industrial actions as they pile pressure on government to begin payment of their cost of living allowances.
Their ineptitude towards the call by the union to grant COLA to the suffering Ghanaian worker is leaving us no alternative than to respond to the incessant demands of our members.
I'll take you live to a news conference called by NAGRA to announce these actions. Also,
so yeah, it's supposed to be, but we are yet to start that phase of the single standard paper.
So to be clear, productivity has never been a factor in the calculation of wages for public sector workers?
Not yet.
This afternoon, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission admits remuneration of public sector workers in Ghana is not determined by productivity. We have details as government statistician calls for a review of salary computation for government workers.
Can we begin to have the conversation on our productivity and relate that to our out, so that once somebody is going in for a bargain for higher salaries, we don't just look at the cost of living side, but look at the productivity side as well.
Governance expert calls for an overhaul of salary and end-of-service benefits for Article 71 office holders, describing the continuous payment of ex gratia as a drain on the economy.
What is the fairness in the system? You see, we are breeding a system where the elites continue to exploit the country. Go to other so-called state-owned agents, the council packages they have, and we can't pay our nurses.
We'll hear from some MPs this afternoon as decision by the Agbogbo Mafia of the Asogli State, Togbia Fede's rejection of over 300,000 cedis ex gratia paid him for serving on the Council of States brings into focus the relevance of this payment.
And you know, members of the Council of State are generally people of accomplishment in their lives. Most often retired from their positions with their own pensions and emoluments.
I also have a data on the payment of ex gratia by successive governments in sports.
We need all players committed to playing for the Black Stars. Deputy Captain Thomas Partey on players willing to switch nationality to Ghana. We have details shortly. And churches, know your flock. That's the advice from the Ghana Police Service as it steps up efforts to prevent any possible terrorist attack.
The churches should encourage the training of security wardens to widen their eye stretch in trying to know who is a bad guy and not, and who is coming in.
We have these and more in this package. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for choosing us. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. You want to stay for details. Time to dig in now. And the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, is this afternoon beginning what will be a series of industrial actions to demand payment of their cost of living allowances from government. NAGRAT says its members can no longer survive under the current excruciating living conditions in the country. My colleague Samuel Imbura is at this news conference. He joins us on the line with more. So, Imbura, walk us through the actions as announced by NAGRAT.
The actions actually begin now, where NAGRAT is instructing all regional and zonal secretariats to hoist red flags in front of their offices. 2, leadership says it is yielding to demands of members for positive action, beginning with the wearing of red bands by the end of June 2022 if the demands made are not met. And the mega action, that is the strike action, will be by the end of July 2022 if all the requests made are not adhered to. Vice President Anaba Jacob was the one who addressed the media on these actions.
The president had earlier said, and I quote, "We, government, know how to bring the economy back to life. What we do not know is how to bring people back to life. The question we ask today is what has changed, Mr. President, and do not prioritize the economy over the human resource. The worker can no longer bear the economic hardship. This situation has resulted in the rank and file of our membership calling for a positive action. Therefore, we are by this conference serving notice to those who matter that their ineptitude towards the call by the union to grant COLA to the suffering Ghanaian worker is leaving us no alternative than to respond to the incessant demands of our members.
That's Nagrat there announcing a series of industrial actions starting now over their cost of living allowances. So yesterday, the Ghana National Association of Teachers also raised similar concerns. They only fell short of announcing a similar industrial action. Thomas Musa is the General Secretary.
We believe that the time for government to respond, particularly because of the issues of the human security, which could have serious implications for national security, we are saying that the time to act is now o'clock. Don't let us take these things and delay it. And I've already indicated there is an easy come, and you will say we will not respond. It will not help anybody. Moses could not go to the promised land because of what? Water. When the devil confronted Jesus, he tells you 10 stones to bread. These are basic necessities that when a human being is confronted with these things for a very long time, the temptation could be high. The workers felt that, look, things are not going the way they expect and all that, but we keep on giving them hope. But in as much as we are giving them hope, the Ghana National Association of Teachers believe that the time has come that we draw the attention of government to it, particularly because we are dealing with the issues of national security.
That's the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Well, you can watch live that press conference that happened a while ago by Nagrat on our Facebook page as we speak. But we'll stay a while longer on issues about salaries. And this afternoon, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has admitted that public sector workers in Ghana are paid without recourse to their work output. This follows the revelation by economics professor and government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim that many public sector workers are paid twice the worth of their work input.
Basic economics. What people earn should be equal to their output and should be equal to what they spend. Earnings only from the public sector is about 3,420 Ghana cedis. On the average, output per person is about 1,420, depending on whether you use just the number of people or discount it based on the number of work, of hours. So we see twice the difference between our output and our earnings.
You heard Professor Kobnenim there during his inaugural lecture. Well, this analysis has been heavily criticized by organized labor. We can hear President of Nagrat, Angel Kabonu, and UTAG UG Secretary, Professor Ransford Jampo.
Any blanket assertion that suggests that all public servants earn more than they produce without first telling us the outcome of specific job evaluations and labor market surveys undertaken, in my view, is a sweeping assertion that can only be made by an academic with partisan lenses and partisan sympathy.
He has jumped onto the bandwagon of people who make generalized statements without giving us any measurement reference or measurement module that we all can refer to or what he is using. Workers in this country work. Workers in this country have never resisted supervision. Workers in this country are working even when we don't have the working tools.
Well, this afternoon it's emerging that productivity is not a consideration, a computation of wages for public sector workers. Yes, PRO of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Elankra.
It's supposed to be a factor straight from the onset of the single standard pay policy. Productivity was supposed to be a factor. We called it linking pay to productivity. But so far, we've not started implementing that aspect of productivity in the salary. But then, at the end of the day, the employer wants to know if employers are working for the salaries I'm paying them. So, yeah, it's supposed to be, but we are yet to start that phase of the single standard pay policy.
So, to be clear, as we speak today, productivity has never been a factor in the calculation of wages for public sector workers? Not yet?
Not yet. At the moment, to determine the salaries, we go through job evaluation.
So if productivity is not a factor, or what are the factors in calculating the salary of a government worker?
First of all, you get the scheme of service of the institution, and then we use it to do a job evaluation, a very comprehensive and I must say scientific job evaluation. What goes into the job, the entry requirement.
The expectation, what is expected from the worker to put in to the job.
Exactly.
Okay, but not the outcome, what the worker is expected to produce, just what they are supposed to put in, the input, not the output.
What is expected of a worker to be able to play a particular role.
That's the PRO, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, El Ankara. They're speaking to Kojo Yankson on the Super Morning Show. Well, on the AM show with Benjamin Nakakbu and Benes Abubedu Lanza, Professor Kobnenim was back, insisting that it is time to begin a conversation on tying salaries of public sector workers to productivity in Ghana.
Wages, earnings for public sector amid all the global economic challenges that we have. But the other side of the coin is that can we begin to have the conversation on our productivity and relate that to our out? Anytime we have these conversations only from the financial side, the money side of the economy, without talking about the real sector of the economy, we tend to have challenges. So all that I'm saying is that let's now begin to map our GDP sector-wise, so that when somebody is going in for a bargain for higher salaries, we don't just look at the cost of living side, but look at the productivity side as well.
Economics Professor Kwabena Enim there. He's also the government statistician there speaking on the AM show. Now let's talk about our standards of living, because having a meal cooked at home should be the norm for Ghanaians, especially as prices of food from the restaurant is hitting the roofs. But what if your effort to minimize cost of feeding by preparing the food yourself is hampered by the excessively high cost of fuel such as LPG? Now it's exactly what we're exploring on the Living Standards series, which returns today after a short break. Mamiesi Nyamecha Thompson has been out to find out how homemade food is affected by this.
Almost 1.8. It has really affected everybody. Actually, all of us know about the economy, as the economy is going. Tomorrow you go, everything has changed.
Scale no there. Face price 30, 40, 40. Would you move? Maybe at 10, 15. If you buy an aboa. Any big time, a boy.
Baby. 2 weeks ago, Deborah, a resident of Alajo, visited the gas station to buy 90 cedis worth of gas. Filling a 14.5 kg gas cylinder would cost her 180 cedis, but she could only afford half of that. The LPG has run out and she's here again.
If I want my cylinder full, I have to pay 180 cedis. Even the smallest size is going for about 80 cedis. But it didn't used to be so. It isn't easy at all.
This time, Deborah can only afford 50 cedis out of 180 cedis needed to fill her cylinder fully.
I would have wished to fill it fully, but I don't have enough money. The one we used at work cost us 250 cedis, and that even lasts a week. If I don't have money, I will opt for charcoal.
For her and others who have come to refill their cylinders, the price of LPG has become unbearably expensive and erratic. In the last month, the price of LPG has increased at least 3 times. Selvarius Akentuna, a supervisor at Trinity Gas, is frustrated.
Like 14 kilos, someone will come and buy 50 cedis into a 14.5 container or cylinder. I mean, how? It's because of the price increase. The price is not stable. For instance, I think last month, the 14.5 was around, I think 148 or so. Recently, it has gone to 152.
As of October last year, you could refill your cylinder for about 7 cedis 91 pesos per kilo. This means a 14.5 kg cylinder was costing a little over 114 Ghana cedis to fill. However, in March this year, the per kilo price of LPG saw a more than 23% rise. Further price fluctuations last month has worsened the situation. Pump attendant Maxwell explains why operations changed from the scale system to the pump system.
Oh, it's a scale. Scale no there. Face price 30, 40, 40. Until we move, maybe at 10 and 15. And to bother we near 40, 30, 30.
When we are operating the scale system, the prices were fixed. If it was 30, then 30. It could not be adjusted. But we had to adopt the pump system so those who cannot afford the increment can also buy.
Handed. And if you are going to it, and you anybody now.
That's our Living Standard series there. The full one also will come up later on Newsnight. You can also get it on myjoyonline.com. Now, governance expert Dr. Bafo Ajimandia is calling for an overhaul of salary and end-of-service benefits for Article 71 office holders, describing the continuous payment of ex gratia as insensitive, irrelevant, and a drain on the struggling Ghanaian economy. The thorny issue of ex gratia is back on the front burner following the decision by the Agbogbo Mafia of the Asogli State, Togbafede's decision to reject over 365,000 cedis ex gratia paid him for serving on the Council of State between 2017 and 2020. He said he finds it inappropriate to receive the said amount when he already took monthly salaries for serving on the council. In a statement, Dr. Bafo Ajimandia says the payment of the money to members of the Council of State cannot be justified.
What Togbe has done is to dramatize one of the ways, of many ways, as we say, that this country wastes resources. And he made a very telling point about how the elites in this country are dissipating the scanty resources that we have. Listen, he says, this is a purely voluntary work. And members of the Council of State are generally people of accomplishment in their lives. We don't put anybody riff-raff on the council. Somebody who has worked, experienced, most often retired from their positions with their own pensions and emoluments. Then you come on a council, and as he said in his statement, you pay him regularly every month with other privileges that didn't go into details, but I believe includes perhaps a car, a driver, a travel allowance, petrol. Then after all that, something that is purely voluntary, you send 300,000 plus.
He wants an overhaul of the policy, describing it as a drain on the economy.
Those who are in the position to change the system will not do so because they stand to gain, they benefit. Somebody explained to me that regarding the MPs, the ex gratia is their own money that is kept and refunded to them at the end of their 4-year tenure as a form of pension. That's how the person explained to me. And frankly, I haven't taken time to find out whether that is the case. But the fact still remains that if you serve your nation for 4 years and you are given a lump sum, and if you compare that to the other kinds of awards that others are given, people have served for 30 years, 25 years, 35 years, and they go away and go to snitch, and every month they are given thousands or less.
That's governance expert Dr. Bafo Ajimandia there. Well, the impacts of COVID-19 plus the recent inflation hikes, of course, public sector workers demand an increase in their base salary. Now, this year, government promised a 7% increment in the base pay of public sector workers. Isaac Ofieje, with our research desk, has been digging extensively into this. He joins me in studio with his data on this. Kofi, walk us through the trend.
Right, Emefa. So the last time public sector workers had a 15% uptick in their base pay was somewhere around 2015, and since then there's been a constant decline in the rate of increase. And so from 12.5% in 2017, when there was no COVID, to about 4% during COVID, and now about 7% this year. And so a quick math shows a huge gap of about 17,000 cedis difference between what an average Article 71 holder earns and what a worker who is on a single spine salary structure earns. So in fact, the least amount an Article 71 holder earns is about 3 times higher than what the highest single spine salary structure worker earns. And so the research desk also looked at the impact of inflation on salaries of public sector workers. So we discovered that inflation had eroded about 752 cedis from what an average public sector worker earns, and the trend I talked about earlier shows that the increases over the years in terms of salary is not enough to offset the damaging effects of inflation. Emefa.
3 times higher. Thank you very much, Isaac Ofieji, Minta of our research desk there. This is the Midday News. It's a good time for a quick breather. We all need it, don't we? Well, we've been talking about NAGRAT beginning a series of industrial actions as they pile pressure on government to begin payment of their cost of living allowance. We've been hearing from them, and also the Ghana National Association of Teachers also raising similar concerns. When we return, we have sports, and then there's a caution to churches. You must know your flock. That's the advice from the Ghana Police Service.
The churches should encourage the training of security wardens to widen their eyes reach in trying to know who is a bad guy and not, and who is coming in.
Hey, Efo, what brings you to my house this early morning? I hope all is well.
Oh, it's never well with me or my brother. After paying 3 times for the land for my project, the construction workers are giving me wahala. From material overestimation to small steering and excuses from artisans. Charlie, I'm tired though. Works that can be done in 2 weeks are done over 2 months. I have to pay them whether the work is good or not.
I told you so, Efo.
It's all because you're trying to become builders when you're corporate workers and business people. Edlom has products tailored to meet your needs. Villas 3 at Amrahia, where there are finished homes with very flexible payment terms. For more information, please visit edlomhousing.com. Send an email to sales@edlomhousing.com or simply call 0270-166-166. Edlom Housing, where spacious and quality homes cost less.
Yema Wakwaba, ba Akwaba Magic Ebusia, brand new channel, Tia Roba, Emuno Tiao, Ewo DSTV channel 149, and the Go TV channel 108. Enianom Akwaba Magic Ebusia, Eddie Nidia Ghanaian programs mu Baufi, a bit said the day, to have and to hold, and Yom Senior Cassia, series and a talk show, Bemo Wakao TV set Nichi, Akwaba Magic Ebusia, Ewo DSTV access to your 50 Ghana cities per and the Go TV value to your 25 Ghana cities per Ebusia Akwaba.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time for sports. Muftal.
Emefa, we are at that point of the year once again where players who are domiciled abroad are showing interest in playing for the Black Stars, and Deputy Captain of the Senior National Team, Thomas Partey, has been speaking to my colleague, George Adejina.
Well, I think everybody have their career. You can't push someone, to do something that they are not ready to do. Mm-hmm. So if they come, they are very welcome because we really need them, and we need all the players. Everyone that is really ready to play for Ghana, we need them, and we are very much happy to receive whoever is ready to play for Ghana.
I'm also happy to hand over to Emefa.
Thank you very much, Muftal. Now, the Ghana Police Service says it has deployed more men to monitor areas that could be a target of terrorist attacks. Religious organizations are also to be sensitized about the need to train security wardens and also to track their members. This move comes in the wake of terrorist attacks in West Africa, the most recent being an attack in Nigeria on a church that left at least 50 members dead.